Axe Ghost is a unforgiving and brutal turn-based tactics game that plays a little bit initially like a match 3 game, but then totally doesn't. And it's a fascinating look at gameplay mechanics, because a lot of what you see on the screen and the way how you initially interact with this game will feel like gameplay mechanics that you've known for decades. Tale as old of time, they're always the same type of thing. But what Axe Ghost has done is give each one a fresher take or a spin or a twist on what you'd normally expect, which then puts it as one leg in the past and one foot in the past and one foot in design that's very much of today. And it's just a fascinating thing to explore. Axe Ghost's whole idea is to try and survive waves of monsters coming towards you by merging them together into big blocks and then using your axe to be able to kill them and swipe them off the screen. You'll need to survive as long as possible for a boss to then appear, and the boss is totally invulnerable unless it is surrounded by its 4 compass points, north, south, east, west around it, with the same monster type. That makes it vulnerable, and then you can use your axe to kind of swipe and take away some hit points, but you'll need to kind of do it quickly and tactically to maximize the impact of your moves, because after you've played your 3 moves per turn, everything moves down a square, and then you've got to kind of go, right, what do I do this time? The moves come from your card set, and that's what's on the left hand side of the screen. Each card has 2 moves, and you'll notice there's a toggle next to them, and that means that if it's a vertical arrow, you can flip it so that the move takes something up or down the screen and you get to choose. Same for left and right. And the other mechanics are very specific actions that you'll take, either replacing or killing a very specific monster, freezing things in place so that they don't move down or across with other moves, or replacing specific monsters as you go along. Now, because you get 3 cards per turn and each one has 2 choices and you can toggle them one direction to another for anything that's an arrow, it gives you actually quite a lot of choice, but you're still hemmed into very specific scenarios to make the best of what you've been given. And so maximising each of your moves to try and clump the monsters together to then be able to take them out and survive as long as possible is key. And you'll need to take note of the different types of arrows as well, because some of them will push just a single row up and down, and that's called a poke. Then you've got a push, which is where it will collect a clump that you're selecting and will push everything up, but it won't go together, so it will start to disconnect. So if, say, some of your skulls going up the screen hit an ogre, but some of them don't, the ones that don't will just keep on going up, and you've got to be careful of that. Whereas if you've got the red arrows, these are very specific and everything will move in unison and stay in the same shape. So if something touches a dead end, the whole thing grinds to a halt. And that's really key, especially when you're playing with L-shaped moves, because it will hit something and then go up, and sometimes you might not have like the right fitting the hole in the wall, I guess, to be able to make it the move, and so you've got to be really careful with that. The other key mechanic here is swapping, though. And what you can do is butt different monsters next to each other and do a vertical swap. And so what it will do is it will mean if you've, say, got green ogres underneath red devils, for example, you can do the vertical swap. And so the green and the red ones switch around. And this can be crucial to merging together several groups of monsters to then become one massive clump that you can then take out. And that's a really clever move to try and save your bacon repeatedly over and over again. The other key thing with Axe Ghost is you don't have to pick for what's on the bottom of the screen like a traditional match 3 or like a Pucci Karat style game where you're firing stuff out. Your ghost and its axe can go anywhere on the screen at all. So you can go right up to the top, you can come right down to the bottom, you can go to the sides, you choose what move you want to make. And that's quite liberating, but it also then gives you sometimes analysis paralysis, because you're thinking, right, what truly is the next best move for me and how can I make every move count? But it's a fascinating spin on having total free reign of the board, rather than being forced to look at only a segment of it. And I thought that was quite a cool design choice. The Marmite design choice for me, though, is that there is no single player or offline content once you've completed the tutorial. The only mode in this game is Daily Challenge, and it feels like it's seeded, and bizarrely for a game that is all about a ghost with an axe, it starts to feel quite soulless, because whilst each challenge every day is given like 10 minutes to complete, and at the halfway mark and at certain points elsewhere, it will update you on where you are on the leaderboard and how many points you are away from like overtaking the next person, and seeing their Steam name appear is quite cool. But it doesn't feel like it's been handcrafted. And maybe this is more of a thing for me than to many other gamers. But this game, when you buy it, doesn't look like something that's going to force an online connection, boot you out when you don't have one, and this happened to me several times. And if you lose connection, it just goes no and kicks you out as well, which feels also quite frustrating, particularly when you're on a good run. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but in 2025, forcing a turn-based tactics game that only has daily challenges to be forced online and not having a single-player campaign for something that's all about stopping the boss and a cool ghost with an axe, it feels like a really odd design choice and a missed opportunity to craft something that you feel more connected and you care about more, because nothing makes me bounce off a product harder than feeling like I've only got the choice of an algorithmically generated level design. It doesn't feel handcrafted or human crafted, and so things start to wear a little bit thin. If none of that matters to you, Axe Ghost has some quite cool gameplay mechanics and some unique choices around turn-based tactics, looking like a match 3 game but playing nothing like it. And from that perspective, I do recommend this. If, however, you aren't interested in daily challenges and being permanently online connected to be able to play what feels like a very feasible offline game, then maybe this one's a miss for you.